Hello once again. Springtime is finally here in the northern latitudes. I'm going to show you some literal backyard head cleaning after some porting work. This head I've deemed completely finished, and now it's out in the sun. So I was doing a little washing. I have a hot water hose outside here at my house. So I filled up that old trash can, some hot soapy water, and use those engine brushes and clean the grime and a lot of this aluminum out of here. Now in the light you can see the port work on here better probably. If I get my hand out of the picture there. So yeah, today, well, let me go through all that I've done to this. So these chambers have been deshrouded and laid back on all the valves. The valves have been now back cut. I did some videos on that. The exhaust valves have a radius at the bottom. Then I moved on to laying back and deshrouding all these. Then I went on to the guide bosses. Did not a super aggressive trimming and trying to keep my shadow out of that, and arrow shaping of those. The exhausts weren't very good at all, actually. The casting wasn't that good. The same thing you can see there. I didn't do any bowl work. I didn't do any throat work. That was done by Indy. Today, this angle seems to be the best, so you keep my shadow off that. Today I used some dividers. If you know what that tool is, I think I'll do another video later of the actual tools and how I worked on these, but I used some dividers and some calipers to measure how much meat I had on the push rod pinch point walls. And then I took dividers and tried to match every port, parallel up the pinch point walls to the center wall. So I ended up taking material off the pinch point and off the center wall eventually more, because this was getting to be like 3/16 or below thickness over here on the pinch points. So now all these pinch points are equal to the biggest and roughly parallel. I'll try to film it from this way so that shadow doesn't get in there as badly. So they're not super smooth. I didn't do any sanding roll work on these, but from what I hear, the rougher finish is a little better anyway. So I also, the last thing I did after speaking with Dwayne Porter with my cam on order, some issues with competition cams right now. I can't really show you this, but the short side radius in there, apparently I didn't touch that because the old time Mopar performance manuals said not to touch that on the 906 heads because you could kill the head really easily. After speaking with Dwayne, he said that the short side radius on some of these SR heads is not that great. You might be able to see it in here. He said some of them drop off like a shelf. It's like from a, almost an angle on top. So I did feel what he was talking about with my finger, and I got in there and tried to give it a smoother radius. So it's kind of anyone's guess if it's actually correct, but it definitely feels a lot nicer than it did, because there was definitely a sharp angle in there on a couple of them. Number 4, I believe, on the even number head isn't complete yet, and that one had the worst intake short side angle on top. It was pretty bad, but this one's complete, like I said, blueprinted and worked, and now clean, just drying here in the sun. I could get my air compressor out here and blow it off, but the sun's working pretty good. It'll be dry in a couple minutes. Brushed out all those guides, keep them clean. A lot of aluminum left in there. You got to go through with the brushes and make sure everything's clean, but it's definitely doable with a hot water hose. You might be able to see a little bit of the, sorry about the holding the camera like always, but see a little bit of the guide work in there maybe if the light's on it. I didn't do a lot. I just kind of trimmed the end there where it was 90-degree, big flat platform on them. So yeah, these heads should flow pretty well. I mean, I'm not talking like, professional, but they should definitely be quite a bit better than they were. Make sure this is on the table before it falls off and smashes my foot. So yeah, pretty easy to clean these with hot water and dish soap. Come on, I mean, you don't get the carbon stains off them, but it gets all the oil off, and most of the aluminum chips just flow right out of it. I'll look them over a little more just to make sure, but like I said, I'll attempt to get back out tomorrow maybe and make another video of the actual procedure I used of measuring to get these measurements of the pinpoint walls and stuff. I just use Harbor Freight tools. You can get them, they're cheap. It's just like $9 for the set. And, you know, I only used three tools out of a you know, I think 7 tool set. The rest was just trash I didn't need, but it gives you like a one of those compass type calipers. You can measure this thickness here, give you an idea of how it shaped and stuff, and a big one that you can measure the pinch point. I'll show it all to you again. But there's this head all done. Indy SR, earlier vintage Indy SR. There you go. It's an upside down shot. These numbers are, I think, valve spring installed heights when they measured it. There you go. Have a nice springtime.